Please like this video and subscribe. Your help is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Before I get into it, here's why this story matters. A lot of guys miss the first real warning sign because it doesn't come with yelling or slammed doors. It comes quiet, a tone, a flinch, a look that says you're an inconvenience in your own home. And if you ignore that, you end up negotiating for basic respect like it's a luxury item. This one is about catching the first signal early, not feeding the tests, and changing the rules with actions instead of speeches. It's also about something people don't like admitting. Sometimes the point isn't love or fun. Sometimes the point is control. Seeing that clearly is what saves your sanity, your time, and your dignity. Friday night in Charlotte, North Carolina, I walked into my apartment with that dead-tired calm you get after a long shift. I work in aviation logistics on the tech side. Stable job, long days, lots of moving parts. I don't come home looking for a parade. I come home looking for my house to feel like my house. The place looked normal. Our normal. Shoes lined up. Kitchen light on. Ava's mug on the counter with tea gone cold. That little routine she always had. Make it, forget it, leave it there like a bookmark. I dropped my keys in the tray, walked up behind her in the hallway, and wrapped my arms around her. Nothing dramatic. Just a quick hug. The kind married people do without thinking. Her body went rigid like I'd grabbed a stranger. And then I heard it. Quiet. Almost a breath. Oh God, don't. Not loud. Not angry. Just involuntary. Like her body said it before her mouth caught up. I let go immediately and took a half step back. Ava didn't turn around. Didn't look at me. She pulled away like she had somewhere more important to be and walked straight to the bedroom. I stood there watching the bedroom door close. Then click. Locked. No. Hey. Imubarwalmat. No, give me a second. Nothing. The thing that got me wasn't just the words. It was the precision. The way she moved like she'd practiced that exact exit. Like she decided this was a new rule and I was supposed to adjust. I didn't chase her. I didn't knock. I didn't ask what I did wrong like I was applying for my own marriage. I went to the kitchen, stared at that cold tea like it was evidence, and made myself one promise. I'm not reaching for her automatically anymore. I'm watching. I am collecting facts. Because that wasn't stress. That was a line being crossed. And if I'd known where it was headed, I would have packed a bag that night and saved myself some gas money. The next morning, Ava moved around the apartment like we were polite roommates who shared a lease. She was up early, hair tied back, phone in her hand. Coffee brewing. No worms. No mention of last night. I sat at the table with my own coffee and watched her scroll. Morning, I said. Morning, she replied without looking up. I let a beat pass. So, I added about last night. Her thumb kept moving. What about it? She asked, like she was doing me a favor by acknowledging I existed. I kept my voice flat. You flinched when I hugged you. You said, oh God, don't. Then you locked the door. She finally looked up, eyes calm, almost bored. I was tired, Michael. That wasn't tired. She took a sip and set the mug down carefully. Are we doing this right now? We're doing it once, I answered. I'm not guessing in my own home. She leaned her hip against the counter. You're making it weird. No, I said. You made it weird. I'm naming it. Ava gave me a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. Okay, named. Congratulations. That tone, like I was a child who just learned a big word. I nodded once. Here's what changes. I'm not chasing you. I'm not trying to touch you if you're going to react like I'm gross. You want space, you get it. She blinked like she wasn't expecting that. Fine, she said. Space sounds great. Good, I replied. We're aligned. She stared for a second, then looked back at her phone like she'd won something. I stood up, rinsed my cup, and grabbed my keys. Ava glanced over. Where are you going? Out, I said. Gym. Groceries. Whatever. I'm not sitting here in silence like I'm being punished. You don't have to be dramatic, she called after me. I paused at the door and looked back. I'm not. I'm being practical. In the car, I thought about how comfortable she was with the distance. That was the first real hint. If someone hurts you by accident, they at least look surprised. Ava looked organized. That afternoon, I got a text for Brandon. Brandon was the guy who hosted everything. Game nights, birthdays, cookouts. He had this big personality, big house energy. He lived a little north of the city, always trying to turn a normal Saturday into an event. Game night at my place. You two coming? Tyler's coming too. Tyler. That name had been popping up lately, always in the background. Ava had started mentioning him like he was part of the furniture. Oh, Tyler's client is crazy. Tyler said the funniest thing. Tyler might join us. Client. That's what she called him. I showed Ava the text. We're going, she said instantly. Too instantly. I raised an eyebrow. We. She finally looked at me like I'd missed the memo. Yes, we. It's Brandon. Don't make it a thing. I'm not making it a thing, I said. I'm observing that you just found your enthusiasm again. Ava rolled her eyes. You're exhausting. I gave her a small nod. Then you'll love the space. For the first time all weekend, she hesitated. That night at Brandon's, the vibe was loud, friendly, packed with couples and a few singles. Brandon greeted us like a politician. Michael, Ava, come in. We're doing wings, we're doing cards, we're doing chaos. He clapped me on the shoulder. How's work? Same circus, I said. He laughed. That's the spirit. Ava, you look like trouble. Ava smiled big. Always. And there it was. Public Ava. Warm, bright, social. The version she decided I didn't deserve in private. Lily was there too, Ava's friend. Lily had this direct way of talking, like she didn't waste syllables. She waved at me. Michael, you survived another week. Barely, I replied. It's a miracle I can still spell my own name. She laughed. That's my favorite kind of man. Functional, not dramatic. Ava's head snapped toward us for half a second. Then she turned away like she didn't care. She cared. Tyler arrived 10 minutes later, and I understood immediately why Ava enjoyed having him orbiting. He was tall, loud, smooth in the way guys get when they like hearing themselves talk. He walked in like the room owed him attention, and most of the room paid up. Ava, he called, and his grin widened when he saw her. There you are. Ava lit up. Actually lit up. Tyler. She stepped in close, hand on his arm. You made it. I stood beside her like a coat rack. Tyler glanced at me. And you are? Michael, I said, offering my hand. He shook it, but his eyes didn't stay on mine. Nice. So you're the husband. The one and only, I replied. He chuckled like that was funny. Man, I love a stable household. Ava laughed too hard. Stop. I watched her fingers stay on his arm a second longer than normal. Not an accident. A choice. Brandon announced the games. People split into groups. Ava somehow ended up seated next to Tyler, shoulder to shoulder. I ended up across the table, watching my wife act like I was optional. At one point, Lily leaned toward me and murmured, You okay? I kept my face calm. I'm great. Why? She nodded toward Ava. Because she's performing. Yeah, I said. I noticed. Lily looked at me like she was deciding whether to say more. I added, Don't worry. I'm not going to make a scene at Brandon's. Good, Lily said. Because Brandon would cry. And then he'd host a Let's Heal brunch. I let out a short laugh. That sounds like a nightmare. Across the room, Ava threw her head back laughing at something Tyler said. Loud laugh. Hand on his chest. Like she was auditioning for the role of most fun woman here. I stood up and went to the kitchen for water. Brandon was there, tossing napkins around. He leaned in. You good? Yeah, I said. Why is everyone asking me that tonight? Brandon lowered his voice. Because Ava's a lot right now. I stared at him. Tyler's your friend? Brandon winced. More like a friend of a friend. He's a talker. I said. He's something. Brandon tried to smile. Hey, don't let it get weird. I held his gaze. If it gets weird, it won't be because of me. Back at the table, Ava's knee was angled toward Tyler. Her whole body was angled toward him. I could have been a lamp. When the game ended, people drifted outside to Brandon's patio. Ava followed Tyler like they were connected by a string. I stepped outside too, and Lily ended up next to me near the railing. Want to hear something hilarious? Lily asked. Always. She nodded toward the yard. Ava thinks she's subtle. I smirked. That's adorable. Lily looked at me. You're not going to do something stupid, right? I turned my head slowly. Like what? She shrugged. Like yell, or beg, or start competing. I leaned an elbow on the railing. I don't compete for my own wife. If I'm in that position, the game is already over. Lily's eyes stayed on me a beat longer. That's not what most men say. Most men are terrified of being alone. I replied. I'm terrified of being disrespected. Ava appeared behind us suddenly, smile too bright. Oh, she said, look at you two. Cozy. Lily didn't flinch. We're talking about how you're not subtle. Ava's smile tightened. Excuse me? Lily shrugged. You heard me. Ava turned to me like I was supposed to scold Lily. I just said, we're fine. Ava's eyes narrowed. Not because she cared about me, because she didn't like not controlling the temperature in the room. Tyler walked up, sliding in close to Ava. What's going on? Nothing, Ava said quickly. Michael's being sensitive. I looked at her. I'm being quiet. That's a different thing. Tyler grinned at Ava. Sensitive men are my favorite. So easy to push buttons. I stared at him. You talk a lot for a guy who's a guest. Brandon's voice cut in from behind. Hey, shots of, he stopped himself, then corrected, soda shots. Whatever. Everybody grab a cup. People laughed. The moment passed, but it didn't really pass. It just waited. When we got in a car to go home, Ava tossed her hair back like she'd had a great night. I started the engine and pulled out, calm hands on the wheel. Ava sighed dramatically. So, are you going to punish me with silence? Ich glänzte her. No. Then what? You've been weird all night. I've been normal, I said. You've been energetic. She scoffed. It's called having fun. At my expense, I replied. Ava looked out the window, then back at me with that little smirk. God, Michael, she said, you're counting seconds now? You saw me laugh and you got jealous. That's embarrassing. I kept my eyes on the road. That kiss. She froze for a fraction of a second. Just a fraction. Then she laughed. Oh my God, are you serious? I didn't raise my voice. It happened. You leaned in. He leaned in. It happened. Ava waved her hand like she was brushing crumbs off the air. It was nothing. It was quick. People do that. Not married people, I said. You're dramatic, she snapped. You make everything about you. I nodded slowly. Okay. Her head turned. Okay, what? Okay, I repeated. New rule. Ava blinked. What rule? I'm not going to events where I'm treated like background, I said. If you want to show up and perform for Tyler, do it without me. Ava laughed again, but it was thinner now. You can't tell me where I can go. I'm not, I said. I'm telling you where I'm going, which is not into humiliation. She crossed her arms. So you're going to isolate me? No, Ava, you're free. I'm just not funding the vibe with my presence. She stared at me like she wanted a bigger reaction, something she could twist. When she didn't get it, she went quiet. At home, I grabbed a pillow and sat on the couch. Ava stood in the hallway. What are you doing? Sleeping, I said. In the living room? Yep, that's childish. I looked at her. What's childish is acting single in public and married when the bills show up. Ava's mouth opened, then closed. For a second, I saw irritation and something else, concern. Like she didn't expect me to move the furniture around her game. The next day, she tried her first little soft landing. Not a full apology, just a gentle tap. She came into the living room with coffee and set it on the table in front of me. Here, she said, voice lighter. Thought you might want this. I looked at the cup, then at her. What is this? Coffee, she said like I was slow. Then she added, look, last night was a lot. I don't want us to be weird. I'll lean back. Then don't make it weird. Ava sat on the arm of the chair. Too close, too casual. Tyler's just helpful. He's connected. He helps me with clients. You call him a client, I said. He acts like a boyfriend. Her eyes flashed. Don't be gross. I'm not being gross, I replied. I'm being accurate. Ava sighed and rested her hand on my shoulder like she was soothing a child. Michael, you're a good man. You work hard. I appreciate you. I looked at her hand on my shoulder. It felt like strategy, not affection. I slid my shoulder away gently. Appreciation looks like respect. Ava's smile wobbled. Okay, so what do you want? I want consistency, I said. If you don't want me touching you, fine. But you don't get to lock me out at home and then act charming in public like I'm your ride. Ava swallowed, then nodded quickly. Okay, I hear you. It sounded rehearsed, like she'd practiced the right words in the mirror. I stood up. Good. I'm going to run errands. Ava grabbed her purse. I'll come. I shook my head. No. Her eyes widened. Why not? Because I'm not doing the we're fine performance, I said. You want to be fine? Be fine when nobody's watching. She stared at me, then forced another smile. You're really doing this? I walked to the door. Yep. The next week, I made changes that weren't petty. Practical changes. I moved my direct deposit into my personal account and left the joint account funded for shared bills only. I wrote it out on a notepad and left it on the counter. Rent, utilities, groceries covered. Everything else, separate. Ava saw it and let out a laugh that wasn't happy. What is this? She asked, waving the note. It's clarity, I replied. We're not doing mixed signals and mixed money at the same time. Ava's eyes hardened. So now you're controlling me. I didn't even blink. No, I'm controlling me. She walked closer. You're punishing me because I talked to someone at a party. You didn't talk, I replied. You performed. There's a difference. Ava opened her mouth, then shut it, then tried a new angle. Brandon invited us to the lake house, she said, switching topics too fast. Lake Norman. Next weekend. Everyone's going. I looked at her. And Tyler's going. Ava's eyes flicked away. Maybe. Don't play dumb, I said. Is he going or not? She shrugged. Probably. It's not like I control who Brandon invites. I nodded. Then I control whether I go. Ava's voice sharpened. You're not going to bail. People will notice. There it is, I said. People. Ava threw her hands up. God, you're so rigid. I stepped closer, calm. Here's my offer. If we go as a couple. That means you don't touch him, you don't flirt, you don't make me the joke. If that feels impossible for you, you go alone. Ava stared at me, jaw tight. You don't get to give me rules. I'm not giving you rules, I said. I'm telling you my boundaries. You could do what you want. I can leave. That was the moment I saw it. Her goal wasn't Tyler. Tyler was a tool. The goal was to see if I'd bend. If I'd start negotiating like a desperate man. Ava tried her second softening 2 days before the trip. This one was louder, sweeter, almost over the top. She cooked dinner. Like actually cooked. Set the table. Candles. The whole look how normal we are package. I walked in and paused. What's this? Ava smiled wide. A peace offering. Interesting, I replied. Did you find peace at the store? She laughed like I was charming. Michael, stop. I'm trying. I sat down, still watching. She poured me iced tea, touched my hand briefly. I want the lake weekend to be good. I want us to reset. I nodded. Reset requires honesty. Ava's smile tightened again. What honesty? Why you're pushing this Tyler thing so hard? I said. Why you're comfortable humiliating me in public, but acting like I'm the problem for noticing? Ava's eyes widened in fake innocence. I'm not humiliating you. I tilted my head. You're either lying or you're blind. Pick one. Ava exhaled, then softened her voice. Michael, you've been so busy. You're always tired. It's like you're not even here sometimes. So your solution is to disrespect me? I didn't say that, she replied quickly. I'm saying I need more energy, more attention. Tyler is just fun. Fun, I repeated. And I'm what? Your utility provider. Ava reached for my hand again. Don't do that. I love you. I pull my hand back. You love comfort. Her face hardened, then smoothed again like she was switching masks. Let's just go to the lake, she said. Have a good time. No drama. I gave her a calm look. No drama is easy. Respect is the hard part for you. Ava stood up, grabbed plates, and started clearing like she was irritated the conversation existed. The day we drove to Lake Norman, she was quiet, not warm, not angry, focused, like a person packing for a mission. Brandon's lake place was a cluster of cabins near the water. Fire pit out back. Big main house. People everywhere. Music playing, food on tables. That weekend escape vibe. Ava got out of the car and immediately scanned the crowd. Tyler waved from the porch. Ava's face brightened like a light switch. There he is. I watched her start walking toward him. I said, Ava. She paused just slightly. I kept my tone even. Remember what I said. Couple. Or you do this alone. Ava turned back with a smile that looked polite for anyone watching. Relax. I'm saying. She walked off. I didn't follow like a guard dog. I carried our bags inside, found our assigned room, and put my stuff on one side of the bed. Not the middle. One side. Clear lines. Lily showed up a little later, carrying a cooler like she owned the place. She saw me and smirked. Well, look at you. Still standing. Barely, I replied. She lowered her voice. She's worse today. I know, I said. Lily looked toward the porch where Ava was laughing with Tyler again. What's her deal? I shrugged. She likes leverage. Lily snorted. That's a fancy word for it. I kept my eyes on the scene. Ava leaned into Tyler, hand on his shoulder. Tyler leaned back like he was proud. Brandon came up clapping his hands. All right, everybody. Fire pit at 8. Games after. No one falls in the lake. That's my only rule. Only rule. I said. Bold. Brandon laughed. Michael, you're always so calm. Teach me. I glanced at Ava across the yard. Calm is cheaper than chaos. Later, by the fire pit, people had plates in their laps, talking over each other. Ava was in full performance mode. Tyler was right next to her, and she kept finding reasons to touch him. His sleeve, his wrist, his shoulder. I sat on the opposite side with Lily and a couple of Brandon's coworkers. One of them, a guy named Mark, leaned over to me. That your wife? Yep, I said. Mark nodded toward Tyler. And that guy is... I let out a short laugh. A problem that thinks he's a prize. Mark chuckled. You're taking it well. I looked him in the eye. I'm taking notes. Ava noticed me talking with Lily, and suddenly her smile changed. Not warmer. Sharper. She stood up and walked around the fire pit toward us. Wow, she said loudly, voice carrying. Why don't you two get a room? People laughed awkwardly. That laugh that says, please don't make us part of your mess. Lily's eyebrows went up. Excuse me. Ava kept going, eyes locked on me now. Seriously, Michael, you've been acting like some sad little ghost. Sleepwalking through this marriage. And now you want to pretend you're interesting because you're talking to my friend? The word pathetic didn't come out of her mouth like a slip. It came out like a weapon she'd been saving. My face stayed calm. My voice stayed calm. You're done, I said. Ava scoffed. Oh, I'm done? Look at him, everyone. Mr. Control finally has feelings. Tyler laughed loud. Man, she's got you on a leash. I stood up slowly, dusted my hands like I'd finished eating. I looked at Brandon first, not Ava. I'm stepping away for a minute. Brandon's eyes widened. Michael, come on. It's fine, I said. I'm not feeding this in front of your guests. Then I looked at Ava. You want a reaction? You don't get it. Ava's mouth twisted. Where are you going? I shrugged. Somewhere you don't get to run the show. I walked away while people stared. Not fast, not storming, just leaving the circle like it didn't own me. Behind me, I heard Ava say, see, he does this. He just walks off. Good. Let her narrate. I wasn't auditioning for her approval. I headed toward the guest cabins. The ones Brandon used for overflow. The ones people drifted in and out of when they needed to grab something. I didn't go there because I wanted to catch anyone. I went because Ava's whole energy had been aimed at one thing. Push, embarrass, see if I break. And when someone pushes that hard, they're usually hiding a reason. One cabin door was slightly open. I stopped a few feet away. I heard laughter. Tyler's voice. Ava's voice. I didn't rush. I didn't announce myself. I just walked up and pushed the door the rest of the way open. Tyler was on the bed. Ava was right there with him, tangled up enough that nobody could call it nothing. Tyler's head turned first, and he grinned like he was proud of himself. Hey, buddy, he said like we were pals at a cookout. Ava jolted upright, eyes wide, then immediately went into fast talking. Michael, wait, this is not. I held up a hand. Stop. Tyler laughed again. Man, you're really calm. Respect. I looked at him, eyes flat. You're in a cabin at a lake house, trying to be slick. Don't talk to me about respect. Tyler sat up, still smirking. She wanted. I moved fast, one clean hit to his jaw, enough to shut his mouth. He fell back on the bed, shocked more than hurt. Ava screamed, Michael, what are you doing? I stepped back immediately. No follow-up. No chouse. Just a boundary in physical form, delivered once, then done. I looked at Ava. You got your reaction. Enjoy it. Ava scrambled off the bed, grabbing at a sheet like she could cover the situation with fabric. Michael, listen, she said, voice high. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. This is... I cut her off. You were thinking for weeks. Her eyes darted. No. I pointed toward the main house. Don't follow me. Ava started toward me anyway. Please. I said it again, colder. Don't. I walked out and shut the cabin door behind me. Not slammed. Shut. Back at the main house, the noise was still going. People still laughing, still eating, still pretending nothing ugly existed. I went to our room and started packing. Not everything, not a dramatic sweep, just essentials. Clothes, laptop, toiletries, my watch charger. The stuff that belonged to my life, not the fantasy she was trying to run. Ava burst in a few minutes later, hair messy, face wet, breathing fast. "Michael, please," she said. "Don't do this." I didn't stop packing. Too late. "This isn't me," she insisted. "It was stupid. It was a choice," I replied. "You didn't trip and fall into a cabin." Ava moved closer. "I'm sorry. I swear I'm sorry." I finally looked at her. Really looked. "You're sorry because you thought there wouldn't be consequences," I said. "You've been testing how far you can go while keeping the house, the comfort, the husband title. You wanted to see if I'd chase you, if I'd beg, if I'd panic." Ava shook her head hard. "No, no, no." "Yes," I said, "because when I stayed calm, you got angrier. When I stopped reaching for you, you tried to pull me back with coffee and candles. You weren't fixing anything. You were managing control." Ava's voice cracked. "I love you." I zipped the bag. "Love doesn't sound like, oh God, don't. Love doesn't look like you laughing at me in front of people. Love doesn't hide in cabin." She grabbed my arm. "Please, just talk to me." I gently removed her hand. "No janking. Just separation." "I did talk," I said. "You mocked it." Ava's eyes pleaded. "Where are you going?" I picked up my bag. "Home. Not our home. My home." "What does that even mean?" she snapped, panic turning into anger. "It means you don't get access anymore," I replied. "Not to my body, not to my peace, not to my money, not to my presence." Ava stepped into my path. "You can't just leave." I looked at her and gave her the simplest truth I had. "I can," I said, "and you just watched me decide." I walked past her, down the hallway, out the door. The night air hit my face like relief. Not happiness. Relief. Brandon tried to intercept me outside, eyes wide. "Michael, man, what happened?" I didn't give him details. I wasn't putting my business on his porch. I just said, "Your guest crossed a line. My wife helped him. I'm out." Brandon's mouth opened, then closed. "Do you need?" "No," I said. "Just lock your cabins next time." I got in my car and drove back to Charlotte alone. The next morning, I sent Ava one message. 1. No esas. No debates. I am staying elsewhere. Do not show up unannounced. We'll handle practical stuff calmly. Your access is over. She called. I didn't answer. She texted paragraphs. I didn't engage. When I finally met her a week later to exchange some belongings, she tried the last move. Sweet voice, soft eyes. "We can rebuild." I gave her a small smile. "You can rebuild your life. You don't rebuild mine." Then I walked away. Months later, my life got quieter in the best way. I moved into a clean place on the edge of Charlotte. Nothing fancy, just mine. I started sleeping through the night again. I focused on work, got a better role, better hours. I started seeing a woman named Denise, steady, direct, no games. The kind of woman who doesn't treat respect like a bargaining chip. My friends came around more because they weren't walking into tension. Brandon and I were still fine, but our group weekends stopped being a thing. Funny how that works. As for Ava, I heard things through the same social circle she used to perform for. She didn't have the same glow when she wasn't in control of a husband-at-home storyline. Tyler drifted away like most loud guys do when there's nothing to win. Ava tried to laugh it off for a while. Then people stopped laughing with her. I didn't celebrate it. I just noticed the pattern. She wanted power without responsibility. She got the opposite, responsibility without comfort. And honestly, that felt fair. What I learned, and what I'd tell any man sitting across from me with a beer and that tired look in his eyes, is simple. First, don't ignore the first clean signal. That "oh God, don't" wasn't about a hug. It was about her deciding I could be treated like an inconvenience. The mistake would have been pretending it was nothing and reaching for her harder. I did the opposite. I stopped chasing and started watching. Second, boundaries only matter when they change the conditions. Talking without consequences is just noise. When Ava tried to pull the "I can do whatever, you can't react" routine, I didn't compete and I didn't beg. I separated access. My time, my space, my money, my presence. That's why her little nice dinners didn't work. They weren't change. They were tactics to get the old setup back. Third, don't perform your pain for an audience. At Brandon's fire pit, she wanted me embarrassed and reactive. If I'd yelled, I'd have been the story. Instead, I stepped out, checked reality, and acted on facts. The biggest mistake would have been negotiating after I saw the truth, letting apologies turn into another round of control. Respect isn't a mood. It's behavior. If the behavior is gone, comfort is not a good reason to stay. Calm decisions beat emotional chaos every time.